Yep, well, welcome to the Clearing Distortions webinar. In this webinar, will also be, I'll be doing an attunement. What I've been guided to do is a higher self attunement. I feel that will complement the clearing distortions. So before we get to that clearing of distortions, let's talk a little bit about what distortions are, because, well, I think that many of you on the call tonight probably do know. There could be some people later who don't understand. So let me just go into that. A distortion is basically anything that takes you away from the truth of your power, of your connection and oneness with God, the Creator. So anything that creates a separation or a sense of limitation, right? Or, of course, anything that would make you believe or feel that you're a victim would be a distortion. I also include in there strong negative emotion. Now, having said that, of course, there are times when it's appropriate to get angry. For example, if someone was in danger and you needed to be assertive and speak up or even yell or get some attention, so you'd have to get angry just to take care of the situation, it's appropriate to get angry. There's no reason to hold back and say, well, I'd be distorted if I spoke up or got upset. You kind of have to use common sense. We have emotions for a good reason, and they're there for us to use. What I'm talking about with a distortion is something that is like chronic and habitual, where you always get triggered. Like you don't feel like you have a choice. You just seem to react. You just seem to get upset. And you sometimes are even thinking, oh, why am I doing this? Like I can't stop. Why do I always react this way? Then that is a distortion, right? So all of us have some sort of distortions that we're born with, that we're come in with. It's just how it is, because for one thing, you're being affected by your parents, your family, your social peers, right? People around you, by what they're saying, and you take that on, especially when you're little. When we're children, we're like sponges. We just absorb everything that our parents are saying, and we believe them because we look up to them, and we just agree without even thinking about it. Like, do I really believe that? You don't know whether you believe that or not because you're just a child. So up until the age of 7 or 8 or even older, kids are just picking up what their parents say, what they believe, and because they love them and they feel that they, of course, are part of them, they're just going to accept that belief, that statement, whatever it is that they are telling them. They're just going to take it. They're just going to accept it until, of course, they get older, right? Like when they become a teenager and they get a little bit more rebellious, which is very healthy. If you think about it, like it's healthy to question what you were taught, because some of it may not be really appropriate for you as a soul, right? It may not be your truth. It could be definitely your parents' truth, but it may not be yours. And part of becoming an adult is sifting through all that and figuring out, oh, what do I believe and what do my parents and others believe? And do I want to take this on? So you can see then why we grow up being distorted, and it's okay. It was part of the human condition. It's part of the spiritual path. It's perfectly fine. However, that said, we want to clear what we can if we want to be empowered and live an amazing life, right? Because you're not meant to be limited by those beliefs. And most of you can kind of feel, oh, I want to see the the I want to say how it just kind of, my feeling is like it kind of pinches you in, it kind of burdens you, it kind of weighs on you. And we just get used to it when we're younger, and we just think this is how life is, it's just how it's supposed to be. And there's nothing I can do about it. This is just me. This is just how I really am. But it's not who you really are. Those distortions are not truth, they're illusions. And part of the spiritual path is identifying what those illusions are and breaking free of them. Okay, so we're going to work on clearing, in this case, for this webinar, this class, the distortion around resistance. And in fact, not just one distortion, several distortions around resistance. And I mean resistance to change, okay, primarily, because if you are holding a limiting belief about change that is then in your way, beliefs like, it's impossible for me to change, or it's dangerous for me to change, right? Or it could be, everyone can change but me. Like other people can change, but I can't. And on, I mean, there's many beliefs you can have around change. So I wrote some down. This is not a, the total list that exists about resistance to change, but an example. Things like change is not easy. And sometimes, right, it is. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it is chaotic. Sometimes, though, it can be smooth. It can be easy. It can be any of those things. It depends what you believe. Some people believe, here's the one thing. Some people have taken a vow or made a promise in a past life that they would never change. Like, I promise I will never change. What that means is that that's running in your subconscious, if that's you, and you believe that you just can't. There's just the subconscious saying, you can't change, you made that promise, you made that vow. You better not change, that's not what you came here for. Remember, you made that promise, so you don't consciously remember, but you're going to feel this tug of resistance to that. Does that make sense? The other way you look at resistance too is you can be resistant to what is happening, just what is, like resistant to life, like things happen and people oftentimes fight against it. An example of that would be if someone got sick. Like we all know of how people talk about when someone gets cancer, they want to fight the cancer. So they're fighting the illness, they're fighting the cancer, or whatever it is that they've come down with, and they're doing battle with it. But the problem with that is that when you do battle with something, you're actually keeping the whole energy engaged. You can't do battle with something and really be in a place of power. There's other ways to approach it by just strengthening yourself, right? Rather than going on the attack, like I have to fight this. Your body doesn't understand that. It goes into that, fight or flight mode. It goes into fear mode too, because if you've got to fight something, your subconscious believes like, oh, I'm in danger. And that's the last thing you need if you're wanting to move through something and truly emerge victorious, truly heal. So one of the things that is important to do if we're sick, and it sounds maybe counterintuitive, but we need to surrender to the experience, surrender to our body's wisdom that it knows what to do, and listen as to what we need to do, rather than go on the attack and just automatically do whatever our logical mind says we can do. Now, sometimes it is appropriate to, of course, take the medicine or have the surgery or take the drug. But if you're coming from this place of just fighting it and therefore running with the conscious logical mind that is very happy to go into fear mode, you're not really going to have the highest and best outcome. Well, it's just unlikely. Possible, but unlikely. And you're filling your body with all these stress, which is less than you need. So those distortions, like that example of, fighting the disease, fighting the condition, rather than seeking wholeness, seeking harmony, listening to the body, finding out what it wants, see how that plays out for people. So distortions are everywhere in everybody, and I can't even say that I'm completely free of them, but some of the major ones I definitely cleared, and I'm sure many of you have also, and you may not even realize it. There are things that bothered you before that probably don't bother you now, or at least much less so. And the same will be true, in another few months, or even a year for sure, where you'll say, you know what, that doesn't trigger me anymore. It's not really a big deal to me anymore. Oh, that's interesting. Because you are moving through things. You are, shedding those distortions. People do that sometimes naturally without even trying. That's kind of what happens in life. But tonight, we're going to really dive deep to clear these as much as possible, especially around change. Because if you don't believe you can change, you're kind of stuck. So that even if you wanted to change and clear some other distortions that would be, beneficial for you to change, you will find it almost impossible to do so because you believe that either you can't change, or it's not safe to change, or change is dangerous, etc. And you're just going to be fighting yourself. Okay, so Rosie says, so not fighting, but rather empowerment. Right. So we don't want to go on the attack on something because this comes down to manifestation. When we go on the attack, we're focusing on the opponent, the enemy. In this case, it would be the disease. When we do that, we're just giving it more energy. We're just making it become bigger. And there's no other way to do that. I'm not saying you have to go ignore the disease or the condition. It's not about that. But it is about looking at it in a little different way and more approaching it like, what is this teaching me? What is this really about? What's going on deep inside of me? How is this helping me to heal and grow and become stronger? And if you're looking at it more positively, you kind of take the charge off of it. You're not putting so much attention on like getting rid of it and pushing against it. Because in life, those distortions, what happens for us is we do like fight with them. You kind of like that idea of resistance to change, right? There are a lot of people who just feel like, no, I don't want to change. Like, that changes for other people. Like, I am the way I am. They think that it's an indicator of self-love. Like, I love myself so much, I just want to stay the way I am. But the truth is, we're all evolving. We just can't help it. We're just wired that way. We're born that way. So when somebody says, well, I shouldn't have to change, there's nothing wrong with me, they're not understanding that their role in life, their purpose in life is really to constantly evolve and grow. And many times they're afraid and that means the conscious mind is really active. The conscious mind is always trying to protect you from anything, especially change. Conscious mind doesn't like change. It abhors change. So last thing it wants what's it's familiar with, what's comfortable, even if what's familiar and comfortable isn't that great. a lot of times the conscious mind will hang on to it because it knows what it is and it fears the unknown. So a lot of people who are resistant to change are fearful, right? They're driven by that, and they're being more, also driven by their conscious mind. So if you feel that's you on some level, right, we'll see what we can do to clear that. So any other question about that? Okay, so this is how I want to do this. I'm going to make a few statements. And I would like you to just close your eyes as I'm reading this. And as I say each statement, I want you to say that to yourself in your mind or aloud if you're somewhere listening to this, and you can do so and nobody's gonna, be bothered, and it's all right. So you can say it out loud. And I just want you to notice if you feel anything in your body. I want you to set the intention that you're going to have an awareness or reaction if this statement is true for you. If it's not true for you, we're going to intend that you feel nothing, that you kind of feel like, like no reaction, nothing. But if it is true for you, we're going to intend that you feel something in some part of your body. And I'm not going to say which part because everyone's a little different. Some of you may feel it in your heart, and others might feel it in their gut. Somebody else might feel pulsing in their head. Everyone's different. So just notice if you feel anything. Don't worry, you can't get it wrong. If I go through all the statements and you feel nothing, that's fine. We're going to clear this anyway. I just want to do this to get you kind of give you some practice to just feel how your body does give you feedback, right? It does give you information. You might even, when I say the statement, feel, if you agree with it, feel this uplifting feeling like, like you can breathe a bit more, like somebody just lifted a weight off your shoulder. Or if I say a statement and it brings you down a bit, it means that that's not true for you, what I just said, right? Or what you were just saying. So here's the first statement. And this one's probably the most important. So I want you to say, on any level, I have a resistance to change. On any level, I have a resistance to change. So just notice how your body feels. If you feel neutral, if you feel nothing, it's kind of like take it or leave it, right? If it feels like a heaviness, that's a little bit of a no. The uplifting part, it is different. Okay, don't want to confuse you, but the heaviness feeling is like, yep, I do. Like, yep, I do. And if you feel nothing, that's like in between, like you can take it or leave it. So just take note of that. And now say this statement, I embrace change. I embrace change. Or you could say, I welcome change. Or you can even say, take it a step further and say, I love change. Now, let me just warn you, if you say, I love change, you get a real strong reaction, like a strong yes, that could still be a distortion. You might want constant change. You can see where you can take it to, an extreme. And you're not looking for constant change. That would be just as distorted as I don't want to change. And some people want to have a constant variety in their life. Okay. The next statement would be, I resist what happens to me if it's unpleasant. I resist, meaning you fight, like you push away, what happens to me if it's unpleasant. Now, it's normal to do that, but what did I say before about, fighting the cancer, fighting the disease? If you're fighting the experience, it's possible that there's a bit of a distortion. It's very likely that there's a distortion. If you're really like fighting it, like pushing it away, like you're reacting to it. It's triggering you, as opposed to you just having an unpleasant experience and going, okay, I don't like that. Really don't like that. It's not okay, but you're not like strongly reacting, strongly like going into, panic, going into fear, going into rage, and you're resisting it, meaning like, again, like you're fighting it. Like you want to push against it instead of realizing this is what happened. So my example could be you have a car, you bang your car, and you get really upset, maybe at yourself for damaging the car, or maybe at the other driver if there was another driver involved and hit your car. You're really upset, you're angry about it, keep talking about like, why did this happen to me? I don't know why this keeps happening to me. This is so unfair, it's happening to me. You're resisting the experience, the reality that you just got your car damaged. And okay, not the end of the world. Okay, you can take care of it. Not convenient. It's going to cost money, but no harm done in this case. But you're resisting it. You're just not accepting the fact that this is what happened. Okay, I'm just going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it, get on with my life. Fine. You're just fighting, complaining, angry, blaming God, like, why does this have to happen to me, God, and on and on. So you're fighting what is, what has just happened. And you are creating more distortion, but you are also coming from a place of distortion. So is that clear with all of you? Another statement, let's test, is a good one. I took a vow to never change. I took a vow to never change. Another one could be, I made a promise to never change. I made a promise to never change. How about this one? Change is dangerous. And that's the conscious mind that believes change is dangerous. So you could be very kind of tied into the belief of your conscious mind that says, change is dangerous. Another one is change is bad. Change is bad. Or how about change is impossible? Or another one, change is not easy. And here's another one that's important to check. How about I can't change? I cannot change. And lastly, it's wrong to change. It's wrong to change. So just, feel into that. And if none of it brought up any reaction, that's fine. And even if it did, that's fine. If you're not even sure what you're feeling, that's fine. We're going to clear all this anyway. Okay, so I'd like you to close your eyes now. And if you're feeling any kind of heaviness around this, or any, emotion has come up for you, we're going to let that go. We're going to release that now. And just know that whatever you experienced is just temporary. All of life is just moving through us. It doesn't stay. It's the nature of reality. Always changing. We're always moving through it. And so we don't have to get worried when something unpleasant does happen, because in the next moment, something wonderful can happen, because that's how life is. So let's just close our eyes, and I want you to imagine, see, or feel that you're in this tube of light. This light that surrounds your body, that stretches from the heavens above down to the earth below. And above you, I see this beautiful light coming down from the cosmos, from the heavens. And let this light come down into your crown chakra. We're calling in your spirit team of guides and angels and other higher beings, asking their assistance, and especially asking your God self, your creator self, your higher self to come forward to assist. And we're calling in your spirit team to help clear any and all patterns of resistance to change, of resistance to life and what is. And we're going to go really far back in time, back to your any and all past lives, clearing these patterns. Some of you have deeply entrenched patterns around resisting change and transformation. And this has kept you stuck lifetime after lifetime. So we're asking your team to clear all of this, going path from the past or lives that where it originated, clearing it all, clearing it all, clear, 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 release, release, release. And I'm just clearing all of that. My team is coming in, really working on all of you, clearing all those patterns. Also clearing them from your ancestral lineage on your father's side, your mother's side, clearing it all. There's a lot there. Many, many of your ancestors were hanging on, really fighting to keep things the same, to keep things stable, thinking mistakenly that that was what was important to do, to just hang on and not let anything fluctuate or ever become something different. So we're changing that, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it, release, release, release. Clearing this also from all parallel lives that you are living in right now, because you do coexist in many other realities. So clearing that all, okay, they're telling me that's actually some patterns from other life, parallel lives that you're living. Well, seems like the feeling is really complicated for some of you, but we're going to clear it all. Okay, and if it doesn't all clear tonight, it's going to clear over the next 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours. These patterns are going to clear. Clearing these also from your physical body, from every cell, every organ, every part of you. Also clearing them from your aura, yes, your auric field, your energy body, subtle body, your chakras, clearing it all, clearing these patterns from wherever they exist in the multiverse. So not just in our universe, not just in our dimension of time and space or other realities, but the multiverse, because there are many, many universes throughout creation. So clearing anything and everything that's connected to you, clearing it all, clearing it all, clearing it all of this. Clear, 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 release, release, release. Take a breath in and feel these patterns now being flushed down this tube, down to Mother Earth, who can receive these distortions with ease. She can heal them. These distortions, there's nothing wrong or bad about them. They just do not serve you anymore. So Mother Earth is able to transmute all energies, just sending them down to Mother Earth, releasing letting the cosmic energy take its place, asking the light of source that is love, that is truth, that is healing, asking for that light to fill you up, to go into parts of your body that need that light. So I want you to be aware of any place in your body that needs attention. For many of you, that's your neck and your shoulders and your head. See, feel, or imagine if there's any area that needs more light and more love. And just send the light to that area. Just see the light filling up that area. And for others of you, the light wants to go down and fill your heart space. For some of you, you've been feeling this heaviness in your chest, in your heart, kind of like a weight or pressure. So the light comes in to fill that up and just take that pressure away to restore you to balance. And now we let the light go wherever it needs to go. And I want you to just notice if you can see or track where it goes. And even if you can't perceive anything, it doesn't mean it's not doing its job. It doesn't mean the light is being absorbed, and that it's healing you, because it is. And now see, feel, or imagine your body filled with this exquisite, radiant, sparkling light that is Creator, that is God. And we're asking your team now to download you with a few programs that will really help you. For example, we're asking Creator to download you with what it feels like to be comfortable with change. What does that feel like? What does it look like? Just bringing that in, because some of you have never known that. Also bringing in the Creator's definition of change, of positive change. Because change for change's sake is not necessarily for your highest good. So we want you to be downloaded with the definition and the feeling, the experience of appropriate change. What is appropriate for you in any given moment? So sending these programs deep into each cell of your body, letting this upgrade and strengthen you and empower you so that you can easily go with the flow of change and embrace it fearlessly, even happily and joyously, that you can welcome it and yet not get carried away with it, so that it is in harmony. So change occurs in your life with harmony and ease. Take a deep breath in and integrate that. That's perfect. So expect to feel lighter. Expect to feel more relaxed. Expect for things in your life as they do change, to go more smoothly. So believe that and call that forward for yourself. It'll be easier for you to create and manage that. All right, so now we're going to turn to the attunement. And so we begin the higher self attunement. And I want you to know and understand that your higher self has always been connected to you, always been communicating with you. It's not in some far distant place. It's been right there within you and around, without you, through your entire existence. So what this attunement is about is to more blend your energy and your consciousness and your body with your higher self. Your higher self is your future self, the most evolved version of you that exists right now in this moment. So we call forth a spirit team of guides and angels, and other higher beings, and of course your higher self, to assist in the passing of this attunement. This attunement is going to activate deep within you a deeper connection and even a deeper understanding of your higher self, of this part of you, so that it becomes more ingrained in you, or part of you, and you a part of it. Okay? So there's not a sense of separation. And you'll know you've achieved this when things seem to just come to you more easily. You seem to figure things out with less struggle. And you surprise yourself at times, where you just know things that you didn't know that you knew. And in time, it becomes normal for you. In the beginning, it may be more sporadic, and you may catch yourself and go, wow, that was strange. But in time, as the blending deepens and continues, it'll become more and more common, to the point where you'll just take it for granted. All right, so now I want you to go into your heart space. And you're still in this tube of light, this bubble of light, whichever visualization is comfortable for you. In your heart space, I want you to see a door opening. This beautiful door, notice what it looks like. Is it ornate? Is it simple? Is it made of wood? Is it made of metal? Is it tall and wide, or is it small? Whatever the dimensions are, doesn't really matter. But what do you see? How does it feel to the touch? This door that you see before you is a symbol or an indicator of your higher self. Whatever the indicator is, it's not good or bad, it's not right or wrong, it's not anything, but simply a reflection in this moment of your higher self, who your higher self is to you, maybe even a message that your higher self has to give you. So just see this door as a symbol of your connection to your higher self. And as you look at this door, I want you to open it. Open that door and step through the door. And as you step through the door, you find yourself in the most beautiful room, decorated with furnishings that are to your taste. With paintings on the wall, there's comfortable furniture, it's a beautiful sofa, and there's a huge picture window through which you can see a beautiful scene in nature of trees and a garden and flowers. There might even be birds. And the sky is beautiful. The sky is blue with fluffy white clouds. And the window is open, and the breeze comes through the window. So you make yourself comfortable in your special, beautiful room. Sit down and relax. As you relax in this space, you see someone approaching. And this person that is you, that is your higher self, comes through the window, the large picture window that is open. It comes to sit next to you on the sofa. So reach out and connect with your higher self. Hold her or his hand. Embrace this part of you. Take him or her into your heart. Blend your conscious awareness with your higher self. Does she have a message for you? Does he have anything at all to say? Trust and believe whatever you are experiencing. Take a deep breath in and release and absorb this connection on a deep level. Take another deep breath in. And once again, take in the energies of your higher self. Let this part of you go deep into each cell and organ, and especially into your heart. Notice how your body feels as you do this. Feel, see or imagine yourself expanding. It's as if you can breathe more deeply. You might feel yourself rising up a little bit. Your higher self is blending more with you. It is part of you. It's just a part of you that exists in the future. But we're bringing forward from the future this part of yourself so that you are empowered right here, right now. So take a breath in. We're tuning you to your higher self in the deepest way that you've ever experienced in any other lifetime. From this point forward, your higher self will serve as an advisor to you. He or she will guide you effortlessly and will always be there to counsel you and to give you insight and information when it's appropriate. Take a breath in and exhale to integrate this attunement. Let it go deep to the core of your being. Let it anchor there. Let it live there. And when you're ready, you can come back into your body and open your eyes. Okay. So how is everyone doing with that? Excuse me. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Anybody want to share your experience? Just share in the chat. Like, where did you leave your body and not come back? So Ed says, I got sleepy but feel a bit lighter. Okay, great. Ed, do you feel like you still have a little resistance there? Just ask. Yes, yeah, I feel that too. Just clear that. So if anybody is still feeling a little resistance, I'd like you to go back and listen to this recording again. Okay, so go back and do it again. It just means, you know, we got what could come off that was easy, but we just need to go, you know, deeper. So Rio says, it was so tender and beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. Glad you experienced it that way. And Anessa says, it feels lighter and wider, more expansive. Rio says, oh, it brought me to tears to meet my higher self. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and if anybody feels like they want to go reconnect, of course, listen to the recording. But in truth, you don't need to. You just have to ask. And if you had a sense of your higher self, of what that part of you looked like, or at least felt like, you just have to reimagine that, okay? And higher self is there. I mean, that's you. So, you know, it's right there. So all you have to do is say, hey, higher self, come on in. Jocelyn said, oh, wow, I felt my body expanding and it felt like I was huge and merging and so big once I relaxed. I felt a calm. It was amazing. Never felt like that before. Wow, awesome. That's cool. That, you know, is going to keep happening for all of you. You're just at the place where you're at now, and you're going to keep expanding. You're going to just keep growing and evolving. So it's constant expansion. And your higher self will always engage with you at a new place, because you're going to expand after this connection. And if you open up and connect with that part of you again, you're going to expand a little more. And it's just going to keep going that way. Okay. I think it's just important that everyone remember that, you know, these times we're living in are kind of have some extremes, like I said earlier, of, you know, feeling high and then feeling like down. The low is not bad. it's not negative at all. A lot of times it's about bringing it back into physical form, like bringing it into your body, grounding it in your body. And there's like, there's a bit of heaviness, but don't interpret it like it's a bad thing or a negative. It's just a balance. Like you raise up and then, but you have to like come down and integrate it a bit. So it feels like you're going down, but really you're just like adjusting, right? Like went really high, you gotta adjust. So but where you adjust to, you're at a higher level than you were before, if that makes any sense to you. Like the pendulum swung really high one day, but it has to come back so that it strikes a balance. So Rio says, I feel like I'm vibrating. Yeah, okay. Anybody else feel like they're vibrating? I feel that happens when you've let go of some distortions. People, I would say, almost always say to me, well, I feel lighter. Like I feel like I didn't know I was kind of weighted down, yeah, because you got used to it. Then when it's taken off, you go, oh, feel taller. Okay, or you could feel like you're vibrating, like your energy just sped up. Okay, that would be what someone would experience if they're more blended with their higher self, like they're vibrating, like they're just vibration just really lifted, and they're at a faster pace now. Okay, great. So any questions about anything or any other comments about anything, gang? No? Okay. Let me see. So I just want to say, because I know a lot of people will be listening to this later, that I'm very grateful and appreciative of all of you being in the Soul Authority Academy and going on this journey with me. So I want to really kind of cast the vision for where we're headed with this, if you haven't figured it out already. So I know it's a little piecemeal, and I don't have a set program to offer you. That's why I've been doing these calls or these webinars right now once a week. The pattern of everything will change a little bit, but my focus is to really help you clear those distortions. Because once you do that, everything just gets a lot easier. Manifestations are easier and faster, and everything improves. But you have to do this gradually. And the attunements help also, of course, but they work even better if the distortions have been cleared away, and either as part of the attunement process or separate. They don't have to always go together. But I've come to understand and fully realize that my gift, my strength, is to clear distortions and past attunements and even past activations. Haven't done so many activations yet, but those are coming. Spirits has told me that it's important to do a lot of distortion clearing and the attunements before so many activations. But those are all coming. So there will be the manifestation class that I'll be teaching with Swati. And I will put in the academy some other classes. I'm thinking of putting in the Angel Intuitive class. I think it's going to come out right, possibly, but I'm not sure yet. Or I may be re-recording my own Angel Intuitive class and putting it in there for you. I'm not sure yet on that. But courses would be available to you. But here's the thing. I really want to focus on passing those attunements, giving you help with clearing distortions, and just teaching as what Spirit wants me to teach you, what comes through to help you with. Um, because for a little while there, I was thinking that the academy should be like a whole bunch of classes. But I came to understand that that's not really my unique gift. I mean, I can make a class in it and it can be great and I know you'd enjoy it, but I really have to focus on what I uniquely do that nobody, or at least not many people that I know of, do. So I hope you agree with me and I hope you get benefit from that and understand that. So therefore the membership is going to be a lot of clearing distortions, you receiving attunements. I will be doing some meditations, I promise. And those meditations will be healing meditations too, where you will go deep and maybe not so much clear distortions, but heal and shift in some other way. But I also want to focus on manifestation in the membership because I know that that's an important thing for all of us to master right now because the energy is speeding up so fast and it's going to continue to, that I don't think you folks realize that you are manifesting right now faster than you ever have before. The challenge is that you're manifesting like every thought you think, and it's going to come quickly. So you have to be really aware of what you're thinking. And then, because what you're thinking then is triggering what you're feeling. So your feeling response then goes into your subconscious that then has to, you create your experience from that place. Okay. So, you know, we have to just step into that, step into our power as creators. So ultimately it's about knowing that you are God. And God wouldn't have distortions, as you know. So the closer you can get to that place of being free of distortion and being aligned with who you really are, the better life will be for you. Now, Rio says, I think that maybe I wasn't able to lose weight because of some type of unconscious attachment or resistance. Maybe once all my thought distortions are cleared, I'll let go of this extra body weight. Yeah, very well could be. Also know that weight is a complicated thing. Physical issues, whatever we feel we have going on, it's not just one thing. It can be a spiritual or emotional issue. It can also be a physical. I mean, it gets really multi-layered. Like you can't just say it's all emotional or spiritual. And you can't also just say it's just physical. What we're experiencing health-wise or body-wise is a mix of all that. Because you are physical, clearly, and yet, of course, the spiritual realm created the physical, still does. But it's because now it is physical, it's denser, it's harder to change that, right? We all know that. So you can't just go back to spiritual realm and automatically heal or change it. You could, it has happened where people have these spontaneous healings or spontaneous change, but it's not as simple as that. It can't always be like that. That's why it's a little more complicated. And manifesting physical change, it can happen, absolutely can happen. But because it's a dance, and especially because it's that way, usually takes a little time. Usually, I don't want to say always because that's a belief, right? So why not? Let's lean into the possibility that the physical change could be instant, but yet understand it takes whatever time it takes. That's how it is. So, because the weight thing could be so many things. It could be psychic protection. It could be the body is actually protecting you because there's a lot of toxins in there. Weight is actually, yeah, it is actually that's actually what's going on. The body holds on to weight to protect you. There's toxins like fat. I mean, we all have fat, right? I mean, everybody, whether they're overweight or not. Fat is toxic fat. It's holding toxins. It's protecting you from the toxins going like into your brain or into some other organ where it would cause disruption. So it can mean that really you need a detox. I mean, we all do because we're exposed to toxins all the time. So the body is just protecting us with that extra weight, saying, oh, I can't let this happen to her. I'm going to put the weight here. I'm going to encapsulate the toxin. I know this is true because someone that I know, she walked into this house that had mold in it. Unbeknownst to her, she wasn't aware that it had that when she walked in. But within like 30 minutes or so, she reacted really strongly as she had to leave. And in the course of 2 weeks, she gained 100 pounds and later gained a little bit more too. It was her body's reaction to the toxins that she was exposed to that just triggered. And she had other stuff obviously going on with her, but she had been a normal weight, and all of a sudden overnight she became, like, not overnight, but in 2 weeks, could feel like overnight, it was that fast. She, you know, just literally blew up. And when I met her, she was still very heavy because she hadn't been able to detoxify that. So that's what the weight can be. It's not necessarily from eating too much or emotional issue, etc. That's her example. Somebody else could be a different thing. Okay. Any other comments or questions or concerns or anything? No? Everybody still feel okay? So I'd like you to do, now that you've experienced this attunement, is start really communing and talking to your higher self, really having a dialogue with that part of you. I really would like to see more of you really open to this idea that you can communicate with the angels, with your higher self, with your spirit team and guides, of course, and do that and record what information or messages you're getting, because that is absolutely possible. But the only way you're going to kind of prove it to yourself is if you just do it. If you do it on a regular basis and just write down what you get. Now, it's not a question of just, all right, jumping out of your chair and saying, I'm going to talk to my higher self. I mean, obviously, you want to center yourself, do whatever you need to do. There's so many ways to do that. You can meditate for a little while, light a candle, have a little ritual, but it doesn't have to be complicated. I don't like to necessarily tell people that they should do a certain ritual, because then people begin to think that they have to do that ritual. And I'd rather you understand and believe that you can just connect anytime. Just like you're talking to a friend, that you'd call them up on the phone and say, hey, what's going on? So it should be with your spirit helpers, really. It's no different. It's just that they're not physical and you're questioning whether it's real or not. So don't question it, just do it. Just see what information you get, and if that's useful to you, use it. If not, you don't. Just like you would with a good friend. You wouldn't do everything your friend told you, probably, I hope not. But you would take some of their advice, perhaps, if it felt right to you. Does it resonate with you? You know, how does it feel to you? Okay, so practice that, and I'd like to hear your experiences in the group, okay, in the Facebook group. I'm going to post something in there and say, share your experiences, your messages, your communications with your higher self and your angels as well. Okay, so sharing is what makes it real. Like if you have these experiences with spirit, and they can be quite profound, but if you don't write it down and record it, it's almost like it never happened. It's like waking up from a dream and you, within 30 minutes, forget what it was, unless you wrote it down. So if you want to have a stronger connection with your higher self, with spirit, then you must write it down. Maybe not all the time, but at least some of the time, so that you have something to look back to and you're able to say, wow, this is what was said. I totally forgot. Right. You totally forgot, and if you hadn't written it down, you wouldn't know it now. So you do want to write this down. Whether you're at the beginning of your journey in opening up, or you're well into it, it's never too late or too early to have that communication. Okay. So otherwise, unless there's any other questions or comments, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to connecting again. And until then, wishing all of you a good evening and many blessings. Okay? Bye-bye till next time.